Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A venture undertaken without regard to possible loss or injury. There was a danger he would do the wrong thing. A cause of pain or injury or loss. He feared the dangers of traveling by air. A dangerous place. He moved out of danger. The condition of being susceptible to harm or injury. You are in no danger. Pose a threat to. Present a danger to. Put in a dangerous, disadvantageous, or difficult position. A venture undertaken without regard to possible loss or injury. A state of danger involving risk. A source of danger. A possibility of incurring loss or misfortune. The probability of becoming infected given that exposure to an infectious agent has occurred. Take a risk in the hope of a favorable outcome. Exposed to a chance of loss or damage. We risked losing a lot of money in this venture. A venture undertaken without regard to possible loss or injury. He saw the rewards but not the risks of crime. A source of danger. A possibility of incurring loss or misfortune. The probability of being exposed to an infectious agent. An investment that is very risky but could yield great profits. Proceed somewhere despite the risk of possible dangers. We ventured into the world of high-tech and bought a supercomputer. Put at risk. Put forward, of a guess, in spite of possible refutation. A commercial undertaking that risks a loss but promises a profit. Any venturesome undertaking, especially one with an uncertain outcome. Any entity that produces an effect or is responsible for events or results. Give rise to. Cause to happen or occur, not always intentionally. Cause a commotion. A comprehensive term for any proceeding in a court of law whereby an individual seeks a legal remedy. Cause to do. Cause to act in a specified manner. A series of actions advancing a principle or tending toward a particular end. They worked in the cause of world peace. A justification for something existing or happening. He had no cause to complain. Events that provide the generative force that is the origin of something. They are trying to determine the cause of the crash. Any entity that produces an effect or is responsible for events or results. Any entity that produces an effect or is responsible for events or results. A part of an animal that has a special function or is supplied by a given artery or nerve. A particular geographical region of indefinite boundary, usually serving some special purpose or distinguished by its people or culture or geography. It was a mountainous area. The extent of a two-dimensional surface enclosed within a boundary. The area of a rectangle. A particular environment or walk of life. It was a closed area of employment. A part of a structure having some specific characteristic or function. The spacious cooking area provided plenty of room for servants. A subject of study. It was his area of specialization. The territory occupied by a nation. A politically organized body of people under a single government. The country's largest manufacturer. A particular geographical region of indefinite boundary, usually serving some special purpose or distinguished by its people or culture or geography. Bible country. The people who live in a nation or country. The whole country worshipped him. An area outside of cities and towns. His poetry celebrated the slower pace of life in the country. A state at a particular time. The current status of the arms negotiations. The relative position or standing of things or especially persons in a society. He had the status of a minor. The procedure that is varied in order to estimate a variable's effect by comparison with a control condition. Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Specify as a condition or requirement in a contract or agreement. Make an express demand or provision in an agreement. The state of good health, especially in the phrases in condition, or in shape, or out of condition, or out of shape. A state at a particular time. A condition, or state, of disrepair. Usually plural, a statement of what is required as part of an agreement. The contract set out the conditions of the lease. An assumption on which rests the validity or effect of something else. Information that should be kept in mind when making a decision. A mode of being or form of existence of a person or thing. The human condition. An illness, disease, or other medical problem. A heart condition. Apply conditioner to in order to make smooth and shiny. I condition my hair after washing it. Establish a conditioned response. Put into a better state. He conditions old cars. A possibility due to a favorable combination of circumstances. Now is your chance. Come upon, as if by accident, meet with. She chanced upon an interesting book in the bookstore the other day. Occurring or appearing or singled out by chance. A chance occurrence. The possibility of future success. Take a risk in the hope of a favorable outcome. A measure of how likely it is that some event will occur. A number expressing the ratio of favorable cases to the whole number of cases possible. If that phone call is for me, chances are it's my wife. An unknown and unpredictable phenomenon that causes an event to result one way rather than another. We ran into each other by pure chance. A risk involving danger. You take a chance when you let her drive. Be the case by chance. I chanced to meet my old friend in the street. Playing craps. A risky and uncertain venture. Getting admitted to the college of your choice has become a crapshoot. Take a risk in the hope of a favorable outcome. A risky act or venture. Money that is risked for possible monetary gain. Play games for money. A person who inspires fear or dread. Something that is a source of danger. Earthquakes are a constant threat in Japan. A warning that something unpleasant is imminent. They were under threat of arrest. Declaration of an intention or a determination to inflict harm on another. His threat to kill me was quite explicit. A source of danger, a possibility of incurring loss or misfortune. A potentially explosive state. keg, usually made of metal, for gunpowder or blasting powder. Take a risk in the hope of a favorable outcome. A source of danger, a possibility of incurring loss or misfortune. Drinking alcohol is a health hazard. Put at risk. An unknown and unpredictable phenomenon that causes an event to result one way rather than another. Put forward, of a guess, in spite of possible refutation. An obstacle on a golf course. A source of danger, a possibility of incurring loss or misfortune. Pose a threat to, present a danger to. Something that is a source of danger. Act in a threatening manner. A threat or the act of threatening. He spoke with desperate menace. Express a threat either by an utterance or a gesture. He menaced the bank manager with a stick. The state of being vulnerable or exposed. His vulnerability to litigation. Susceptibility to injury or attack. A standard for judging when freedom of speech can be abridged. No one has a right to shout "fire" in a crowded theater when there is no fire because such an action would pose a clear and present danger to public safety. The state of being vulnerable or exposed. His exposure to ridicule. A representation of a person or scene in the form of a print or transparent slide or in digital format. Abandoning without shelter or protection, as by leaving an infant out in the open. Aspect resulting from the direction a building or window faces. The studio had a northern exposure. Presentation to view in an open or public manner. The exposure of his anger was shocking. The act of exposing film to light. The act of subjecting someone to an influencing experience. She denounced the exposure of children to pornography. The disclosure of something secret. They feared exposure of their campaign plans. The intensity of light falling on a photographic film or plate. He used the wrong exposure. Vulnerability to the elements. To the action of heat or cold or wind or rain. Exposure to the weather. The state of being dangerous. The anxiety you experience when you feel vulnerable and insecure. The state of being subject to danger or injury. The state of being dangerous. A state of danger involving risk.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.